Hello everyone, this is Little Black Dragon and you are watching another installment of Let's Play Dragon Age Origins Dwarven Commoner Edition. Last we left off, we talked with several of our companions. We gave Alistair his mother's amulet back. We talked to Sten about what he thinks of Ferelden. We asked Morrigan about her history with if she had been hunted by the Chantry, and we learned the reason why Wynne fell earlier, which has to do with there is a spirit keeping her alive. So, and we also talked to Shale about golems. So, I guess the only person we haven't talked to yet is Zevron, who just recently joined our party, in fact, so we should probably get to know this assassin a little better. Have an assassin to Templar chit-chat. Derp, derp, derp. Yep. It feels so weird. Assassin and Templars working together, what will they think of next? Say the Assassin's Creed fans. Oh well, whatever. This is a different situation. Anyway. Hey, Zevron? What's up?
Here I am.
Well, would you care to answer some questions?
Oh, this should be good. Go ahead.
Well, what does it take to become an assassin?
Well, the Crows would have you believe that it is an involved process that takes years of training. The sort that tests both your resolve and your endurance. Survive that process and maybe, just maybe, you're good enough to start being considered one of them. But quite frankly, the truth is that all it requires is a desire to kill people for a living. It's surprising how well one can do in such a field.
You did quite well, no doubt.
Within the Crows, I did. But it has been something the Crows have devoted a great deal of time to perfecting. An assassin simply specializes in striking from stealth, and in maximizing that first attack to be as lethal as possible. Debilitate your foe, either by poison or by crippling their limbs, makes any follow-up combat you need to engage in that much simpler.
That sounds like it could be extremely useful.
See? Getting paid for the act is beside the point. An assassin is more a tactical choice than a lifestyle. Of course, the Crows like to pretend that their abilities are trade secrets, shrouded in shadows and wrapped in a blanket of mystery. So let's just keep this between you and me, shall we?
Oh, but of course. And since you're a new companion, we're going to have another conversation with you, just so we can break you in.
Here I am.
Well, can you teach others to be an assassin?
Oh, I certainly could, but I won't. I swore to the Crows that the things they taught me were to remain a secret. And while, yes, they are already angry at me, I'd rather not push things, you see.
Alright, I'll respect your word.
If you are truly insistent, well, let me think about it. The Crows are already angry at me, yes? Who knows?
And we're gonna pester you again, because reasons!
Here I am.
Care to answer some questions?
Oh, this should be good. Go ahead.
Why did you want to leave the Crows, exactly?
Well, now, I imagine that's a very fair question. Being an assassin, after all, is a living, at least as far as such things go. I was simply never given the opportunity to choose another way. So, if that choice presents itself, why should I not seize upon it?
Well, you mentioned before that you were a slave, but remind me, you didn't choose to join the Crows.
To be truthful, I didn't even know the Crows existed when I joined them. I was but a boy of 7 when I was purchased. For 3 sovereigns, I'm told. Which is a good price, considering I was all ribs and bone and didn't know the pommel of a dagger from the pointy end. The Crows buy all their assassins that way. Buy them young, raise them to know nothing else but murder. And if you do poorly in your training, you die.
That sounds awful.
Oh, I don't know about that. The crows who are actually good enough to survive come to enjoy some of the benefits. In Antiva, being a crow gets you respect. It gets you wealth. Gets you women. And men. Or whatever it is you might fancy. But that does not mean doing what is expected of you always. And it means being expendable. It's a cage, if a gilded cage. Pretty, but confining.
Ah. So, what is it you fancy exactly? I mean, was there anything that you liked? 'Cause honestly, we don't know much about you, so what do you like?
I fancy many things. I fancy things that are beautiful, and things that are strong. I fancy things that are dangerous and exciting. Would you be offended if I said I fancied you?
Well, derp. Oh, well, I see where this is going. Well, I'm not actually bothered by that. No, but you needn't bother.
Ah, that's too bad. I do so enjoy it when I get to be flirty. As for what I'll do in the future, presuming that there is one, I truly can't imagine. It might be interesting to go into business for myself, for a change. Far away from Antiva, of course. For now, naturally, I go where you go.
Well, actually, I'm happy to have you along. In a lot of ways, you're a lot like me. So, glad to have you with us, Zevron.
And here I am, happy to be had. Isn't it wonderful how things work out that way? Come now, enough chit-chat. Talking about the crows summons them, you know. Any Antivan fishwife could tell you so.
Awesome. Zevron approves +5. Yay! Okay, we'll stop bothering you now. Alright, we've actually got quite a bit of time, so we could probably talk to a couple more people a little bit. Let's talk to Shale more, actually. Shale's interesting.
I've watched a lot of humans in my time. It should be aware that I've decided that it is not much like any of them.
Well, I'm not human. But hey, that's super. Thanks, Shale.
Surely it must come from some superior lineage, yes? Some breed of flesh creature that has decided to elevate its genetic stock above its natural shortcomings?
Well, I'm a casteless exile, if that's what you mean.
Then that must be it. My experience with dwarves is limited, but obviously I need to encounter more of them. I would appreciate if it didn't spread around that I said anything. Humans might start to get the wrong idea. They might start thinking their race is not completely hopeless.
Oh, and we wouldn't want that.
Indeed. Can it imagine the horror? Oh. Now, let us crush something into a fine paste before it starts to think I've gone all soft. Perish the thought.
Oh, indeed. Perish the thought, and I'm being completely sarcastic right now. Still, hilarious conversation. Let's talk to Morrigan again.
I await your command.
I'd like to ask you something.
So, full of questions, are you?
Did you grow up in the Kokari Wilds?
Why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I?
Well, you could if you wanted to.
Oh, what luck. What is it you asked? If I grew up in the wilds? A curious question. Where else would you picture me? For many years it was simply Flemeth and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man. In time, I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized wilderness.
And you remained unnoticed.
For the most part. Flemeth taught me well. For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be overwhelming. I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for.
Very daring. That sounds like you.
Equal parts daring and foolhardy, perhaps. Only once was I accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a chastened who happened to be traveling with a merchant caravan. He pointed and gasped, and began shouting in his strange language, and most assumed he was casting some curse upon me. I acted the terrified girl, and naturally, he was arrested.
Well, that was quick thinking.
Men are always willing to believe two things about a woman. One, that she is weak, and two, that she finds him attractive. I played the weakling and battered my eyelashes at the captain of the guard. Child's play. The point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever humans think a witch of the wild looks like, 'tis not I. Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting?
Well, actually, I have no idea. I'm not human.
Do not speak to me of trivialities. Your culture is not so entirely different. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into another's eyes. How to eat at a table. How to bargain without offending. None of these things I knew. I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again.
Well, I'm glad it worked out this way, at least.
Yes? Let's ignore the entire Darkspawn threat and the presence of a simpleton as your only other Grey Warden ally, then. Not that I lack appreciation for the intent of your comment. Thank you. Well, let's get on with it before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes?
And Morrigan approves +7. No, let's get moving before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes? Yeah, we don't want Darkspawn coming out of the ground and eating us. That would be bad. That would be very, very bad. What should we do next? Maybe have another quick chat with Wynne?
You're quite taken with each other, aren't you?
Oh, you're talking about Alistair and I? Already? Well, yes, we've actually been, we've been flirting, I guess. But you know about Alistair and me.
It's hard not to notice the doe-eyed looks he gives you, especially when he thinks no one's watching. It's almost too sweet for my tastes, and I'm an old lady who should be making lace hearts and fuzzy blankets with animal motifs.
You're not like the average old lady.
No, I won't be making socks with pom-poms for you anytime soon. But that's hardly my point. I've noticed your blossoming relationship, and I wanted to ask you where you thought it was going. Alistair is a fine lad, skilled in battle, but quite inexperienced when it comes to affairs of the heart. I would hate to see him get hurt.
Well, we're taking it one day at a time. And honestly, that's the best we can do, so... But honestly, I understand. I mean, he does seem pretty inexperienced, so he could easily get hurt.
You are both Grey Wardens, and he is the son of a king. You have responsibilities which supersede your personal desires.
Well, I can handle my responsibilities and my relationships. I'm a big girl.
Love is ultimately selfish. It demands that one be devoted to a single person who may fully occupy one's mind and heart to the exclusion of all else. A Grey Warden cannot afford to be selfish. You may be forced to make a choice between saving your love and saving everyone else. And then what would you do?
Well, I may have to make that choice. You're probably right. But what am I supposed to do? Tell Alistair to go away?
You may have to save one or both of you unnecessary anguish later on.
Well, I'm not giving up what we have, no matter what you say.
I have given my advice. Do with it what you will.
Yeah, I know I lost my connection to the servers. Shut up. Well, I guess that's all we have time for. But maybe I'll have a couple more conversations before heading to the next destination in the next installment of Let's Play Dragon Age Origins Dwarven Commoner Edition. Like, comment, subscribe, favorite, whatever you can do to show your support, and thanks for watching, folks. See you next time.